Hey guys, so we have a big update in the coronavirus situation. The Democrats are not letting this crisis go to waste. As Rahm Emanuel famously said, and that's the Democrat philosophy of life, they never let a crisis go to waste. So now you have a coronavirus crisis. You have a situation where people are dying in this country. You have a situation where the Chinese, until recently, were hoarding face masks that should have been sent to the United States. We had charities and companies that those face masks belong to us. The Chinese were hoarding them. So now we've got President Trump responding to this pressure, going to the Hanes underwear company, being creative, getting them to make face masks, okay? Going to distilleries, getting them to make hand sanitizer. We're being resourceful. We're figuring out how to make things here in America resourcefully during a crisis. And this proves the resilience of the American people and the greatness of our economy. So while President Trump is dealing with this, okay, he is trying to write a stimulus bill that's going to get this economy back on track and is going to help Americans. And it's going to give us money, whether it's in the form of a tax rebate or a check. We're going to be getting money. We're going to be getting relief. Companies are going to be getting relief. Small businesses are going to be getting relief. He's already waived the interest on student loans, okay? He is planning big stuff. But the Democrats now want to hold the country hostage. They are saying that they plan to try to hold the stimulus bill hostage until they get vote by mail. Vote by mail is what they want. It's a national system where you no longer show up to the polls, okay? You no longer vote in person. You no longer pull the lever. Instead, it's all mail voting. All over the mail through the postal service. So there's no way to really determine whether or not any of these mail-in votes are being counted correctly. And that's what the Democrats want. And they have used this crisis in order to couch it as a moral imperative. This is what's happening right now. So I'm trying to sound the alarm. I'm trying to get the alert out because the media isn't going to report on this because the media is complicit in this. They think this is a good thing. David Rothschild from the vaunted Rothschild financial family. I noticed him 6 days ago. That's when I first started sounding the alarm. I knew something was up because this Rothschild guy was the first one, as far as I can tell, in a major way to start pushing this idea. And here's what he said. We do not want to give anyone any ideas about postponing the 2020 election. Oh, good. Thanks, David. Thank you for that, David. Okay. Prepare the country to debate and choose in a difficult time. All voting by mail to avoid any need for clustering people. We voted in 1864, we can vote in 2020. For those non-history majors out there, 1864 was the middle of the Civil War. If we held a presidential election in the middle of the Civil War, we can hold one now. Here's how we do it. Vote by mail. So I said, oh, the Rothschild family is pushing vote by mail now. So now you begin to see the hierarchy. The next major person to talk about this was Hillary Clinton, that faithful lackey, Hillary Clinton, who never got to be president. But she's still circling. Sleepy Joe Biden isn't doing so well mentally. We haven't had the convention yet, so don't count out Hillary Clinton. She's very interested in this 2020 race. Here's what Hillary Clinton said. Every voter must have the opportunity to vote by mail this year. Senators Ron Wyden and Amy Klobuchar have a bill to get it done. Congress needs to act to make voting by mail the norm going forward. So then they get all their strategists involved. You've got Dan Pfeiffer, the former Obama advisor. Vote by mail should be standard practice no matter what, but it is a moral imperative in a pandemic. Republicans will oppose it out of muscle memory. Congressional Democrats need to make it a condition for an economic rescue package. So Dan Pfeiffer was the one who came up with the strategy. Usually it's David Brock or John Podesta. But Dan Pfeiffer says, we're going to hold the economic stimulus package hostage until we get vote by mail. Then all of a sudden you've got Stacey Abrams, a leading contender to be running mate, as Joe Biden said. Stacey Abrams, who pushed this constitutional republic to the brink during the Georgia gubernatorial race. And I was working on that election as a reporter, investigating what she was doing, investigating those tactics, those lawsuits, all the shenanigans that were going on in Fulton County with non-citizens trying to vote, with duplicate ballots. She pushed the American Republic to the brink. It's going to be even worse this time around. Stacey Abrams says, call your senator and tell them to include elections funding in the economic stimulus package. So she's trying to get vote by mail. And you see all of them, all of the establishment people, Bill Kristol, Adam Schiff, Federal Election Commissioner Ellen Weintraub says no one should have to risk their life or the lives of their loved ones to cast their vote. And she's using the hashtag virus-free voting. So, yeah, talk about scaremongering in a time of crisis. We've been hearing nothing from the media except how it's supposedly racist to call it the Chinese virus. Okay? Now we're hearing about how people are going to be risking their lives to cast a vote. These people don't care about public health. They don't care about your safety or your security. They are trying to win this election, and they're trying to do it by changing the rules. Now, Ellen Weintraub says they can get it done if they act now. That's why it's so important for them to try to get this into the economic stimulus. The Ron Wyden, Amy Klobuchar bill is not going to pass the Republican Senate, and Trump will veto it, and they're not going to be able to override his veto. So if they want to do this, they're going to have to do it on a state-by-state level, and not all the states are going to go along with it. New Jersey already said that it was unconstitutional late last year to have an automatic vote-by-mail system. So they shut down that law because it was unconstitutional. So this is going to be a legal battle for the presidency of the United States. It's like that movie about the 2000 election, about Roger Stone. This is a street fight for the presidency of the United States, right? So they're trying to do everything they can, and these are strange times. You effectively have martial law now in the city of Los Angeles under Mayor Eric Garcetti, who is the last person in the world who I want enforcing any kind of martial law, considering that he's openly defying the federal government on immigration law. And you know what he said? He called into that awful Fredo show, the Cuomo show, and he said, people are getting guns, they're going crazy. And he's deputizing city employees. And he says, if we see any folks that are still open, we'll just pay him a visit. So this is what it's coming to. I was on the phone over the last day or so with Child Protective Services people, the Department of Human Services in Oklahoma, because there was a CPS worker who told parents the state is suspending all visitations during the coronavirus pandemic. So we can't schedule any visitations while this is going on. So I call them up, and all these ladies who answer the phone at these government agencies in the Midwest, they're all like Christopher Guest characters, right? Parks and Rec. And they have these voices. These are middle American people. You would like them, except for the fact that they've been inculcated by the government system, and they're basically just pawns now of the government taking kids away from people. And I finally got on the phone with this lady, and she says, there's no policy, sir. We're still trying to set up visitations through Skype or FaceTime. And I said, well, do you know if any visitations are happening through Skype or FaceTime? And she didn't know. She had no idea. Okay. So, I asked, are you going to discipline this social worker if she's lying about your policy? And then I didn't hear back from her. But we published that story, and that's up now, so people know that CPS is preventing parents from getting visits now. This, by the way, was a 20-month-old girl who was taken away because the medical experts decided that she didn't weigh enough, and the mother was breastfeeding her, and they didn't like that. And, they wanted to put her on some kind of medication, and the parents didn't want her to be put on that medication, right? So you see CPS taking as much as they possibly can from this crisis. You see the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, and those folks trying to change our election. You see Eric Garcetti trying to take as much. And you realize that their philosophy really is what Rahm Emanuel laid out. Never let a crisis go to waste. It is shameful in a time like this, when President Trump is working so hard to turn our economy around, when he's working so hard with these great entrepreneurs, Hanes, the distilleries, coming up with hand sanitizer now and face masks because the Chinese are against us. The Chinese have been hoarding the face masks. The Chinese are threatening us. There was a piece in a Chinese news agency that said America could be thrown into the sea of coronavirus. Thrown into the sea of coronavirus. The Chinese are not on our side, but of course the media just wants to talk about, the xenophobia and all this, despite the fact that they eat dogs in China. You should go look at that video of the dog being cooked alive in China. But, Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to sound this alarm. I'm sounding the alarm to people in Trump world. They're responding to it. So we're going to get the strategists on our side activated, and we're going to make sure that people know about this, and we're going to make sure that there's no vote by mail provision in the economic stimulus, and the economic stimulus is just only used to try to help the people of this country, which is what our lawmakers should be focused on. Thank you, and God bless you.